In today's video, I am going to teach you how to refresh a pivot table in Google Sheets. When you add new rows to the data that feeds your pivot table, the pivot table might not automatically pick them up. The most reliable way to refresh it is to update the pivot table data range so it includes the new rows. I will walk you through that process clearly. First, open the Google Sheet that contains your pivot table. Make sure you are in the correct file and that you can see the pivot table on the sheet. If your pivot table is on a different tab, click that tab so the pivot table is visible. Next, click anywhere inside the pivot table itself. This is important because it tells Google Sheets which pivot table you want to edit. As soon as you click inside the pivot table editor sidebar should appear. This sidebar is where you control what data the pivot table uses and how it is summarized. Now look at the very top of the pivot table editor sidebar for the section labeled Data Range. This area shows the current range of cells that your pivot table is pulling from. If new rows were added below the original range, they will not be included until you expand this selection. In the Data Range section, find the small grid icon next to the range address. This is the Select Data Range button. Click that grid icon to open the range selector. You will see the existing range and you can adjust it. Edit the range so it includes any new rows you added to your source data. You can type a new range directly, or you can select the updated range on the sheet, depending on what is easiest. The key is to make sure the range fully covers the new data, including all relevant columns and the additional rows. Once the range is correct, click OK to save the updated range. After you do that, your pivot table should refresh and reflect the newly included data. Give it a moment to recalculate, especially if your dataset is large. If the pivot table does not update right away, reload your browser page. Sometimes the sheet needs a quick refresh to display the latest recalculated results. That covers everything you need to know.